Welcome to Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. I am your host, Tamekia R. Moon. Here at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia, we are everything her, helping, elevating, and redefining women and bringing women voices and stories to the mic. Today, I am so excited because we have um, our guest, boss lady, boss sister that's been in the education field for over 26 years. But before we get started, I want you to hit the like button, subscribe, share, hit that notification button, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. As I said before, our guest has been in the education and has been in education for over 26 years, Tracey Colson, and with TC Education Consultants. So I am going to introduce her, but I want to, as I introduce her, I want to share a couple things about her. Then I'm going to hand the mic over to you, Tracey. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you today?
I am amazingly well. I am thankful that you said yes because, over here we love to bring women on, use our voices, and encourage each other, educate, redefine, and elevate. And so I am thankful for you saying yes. So let's go ahead and get started. So Tracey has 26 years experience in elementary, middle school, and high school education. As an educator and administrator, she has transformed schools, school districts, and communities. Her motto is developing students by empowering those who lead them. Tracey does workshops. Now, I'm gonna have Tracey talk about TC Education Consulting, but we're gonna also talk about this amazing workshop that's called the Love Letter that I attended back in March. Was it March?
It was
March or
March.
April of this
It was March.
year. And so we're gonna talk about that. But Tracey, can you tell us a little bit more about TC Education Consultants and some of transformative works that you have done in the school districts and the communities?
Well, thank you for having me again. I'm so excited to be here today to share a little bit about who I am, my work, and the platform. And so, TC Education Consultant really started back in 2021 when some really close friends were pushing me to say, why aren't you doing this work on your own? Um, no one has provided you with any type of guidebook on how to transform a school. You just kind of did it on your own. You were battleground tested, but you help a lot of individuals. You coach, you mentor a lot of individuals, and they're like, "Do you know there's like money out here for that?" And then you like have the heart to serve and to do it, but then you also have the evidence of your work and the things that you are doing in the school system. And so I was like, okay, let me think about it. Let me think about it. I'm busy. You know how we always say we're busy, we got all these other things going on. And then I just kind of took a leap of faith and put together TC Education Consultant, really around the work that I did with transforming a middle school here in the Columbus area. Um, Taking that middle school from the bottom, the lowest in the district, to when I left it, to one of the top high performing middle schools in the district. And when you talk about transformative leadership, you really have to know what pieces that it takes to transform a school. I think a lot of times districts and administrators, they focus on that curriculum and academic piece, but really it's about transforming the school culture, shifting the mindset of the teachers, the students, the community, and the parents, letting them believe that doesn't matter where you come from, all students can achieve at a high level. So that's just a little bit about why I wanted to start TC Education Consultant, to share and coach and mentor other building administrators, um, teachers, even district level administrators on how to truly transform a school and sustain the growth in the work and the development of the young people. So that's just a little bit about some of the work that I've done. I've been in elementary, middle, and high school. Right now, I'm in central office. I probably will retire as a building administrator because I loved being a building administrator. Right now, I just feel like I'm on a break from being a building administrator, but my goal is to hopefully retire in a building.
So let me ask you this: what was the time frame of transforming the school that was operating at a very low level to the level that you took it at? What was it? 2 years, 3 years? Like, what was that time frame like?
So it's so funny because my first year in the building on the state report card, we got straight A's on that performance index, that progress monitoring section of the report card. And it was just that year. But then I think it really took me 3 to 4 years to really see the change and the shift in the culture with the students in the community and the teachers. Typically, they say it takes 5 years to transform a school, but I think it really took us 3 to 4 years to do that work and sustain it.
I love that. And you know what I also love about you saying working with the teachers, other building administrators, because you working at the top level, right? Is that you are like you're one person, and so you've already done and shown the work, right? And so it's almost like I don't know. I guess the word is like duplicating. It's like okay, if you're going to work with the students, I've already have the sauce. So let me work with the top and so it can filter down and almost like it makes sense, right? To work with the teachers and
Yeah,
the administrators.
yeah,
So it can
yeah,
you creating more than just yourself, I guess I should say, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
It does. I think a lot of times people think that school transformation starts with the kids, but really school transformation starts with the adults that impact the students. And so, how do we impact the teachers that impact the students? School transformation really does not start with the kids, it starts with the big kids, the adults that
Mhm.
really impact the students. And so, if we can impact and shift the mindsets of the big adults, the teachers that impact the students, um, we could see a lot more school transformation happening across this nation.
I love that. I love it. It starts with the bigger kids,
Mhm.
the big adults.
The big adults.
The big adults. Why put the responsibility on the kids? I love that. I love it. So, um, we talked about TC Education Consultant, and you have a workshop that falls up under your business, right? And I attended that workshop back in March, which I thought it was dope. It was called the Love Letter Workshop. And so I wanted to bring you on to talk about that because in this workshop, I don't even know if you know the type of transformative things that you were doing that we don't even talk about. And so I want you to speak to the workshop, the works of it, the what, the why, and let's just dive right into it. And then yeah, let's just dive into it because I love it. I love the workshop. So let's dive into it on what it is.
So, a love letter to yourself. So, really, Tamika, I had a outline and a draft of this love letter to yourself workshop probably for 2 years, and I shared it with a very close friend that I went to Capital University with, Tyrone, that lives. And I went to go visit him over break, and I said, I really want to do something with my education consultant. It's not, this is not like education, it's not school related, but I have this really great workshop that I really feel that we all need to hear. We all need to get prepared for um, that transition that we all know that we're going to take here. And so the love letter to yourself is really about writing your own obituary, estate planning. Do you have a will, a trust, a power of attorney? Do you have all of these things lined up? Are you planning for retirement? Do you have life insurance? You know, I'm so tired of people passing away and we don't have the funds or the money to bury them. And I'm not talking about, I mean, you and I both know people that have been professionals, great jobs, doing well for themselves, and they don't have their affairs in order. And then we get to that moment and no one knows anything. No one knows the paperwork. No one knows who the point person. And then that's where you get everybody that tension, the fussing, the arguing of who should be in charge, who should make the decisions. And so, really, the workshop is set up where I have experts that come. I had a life insurance organization agency come, Robert Brown. I had a financial planner come, Ryan Sweeney, to kind of talk about, are you setting yourself up? Is your employee have your 401, your 403b, your Roth, your all of your investments? Are those things set up for you to be financially stable when you do retire, or if you get into a situation? I had a probate judge. Probate Judge Mackey there to kind of talk about these different topics. This I did it again in November, so I invited the Stewart Law Firm, Brian Stewart and lawyer Richardson, to also talk about the estate planning, because one of the things in the first workshop in March, the feedback that I received was it would have been great to have a lawyer, because if I don't have my stuff in order, is there someone that could get this paperwork done for me? And just making sure that we understand all the different nuances that comes with aging or getting older. And sometimes it's not even always about aging and getting older. I don't think we're old, but we know that we have very close friends or family members that have passed away. And people think that that's for older people. It's really for everyone. You really need to start planning that right now while you're in college. Just these small little nuggets. Are you setting yourself up for success, to where during that moment when we know when a loved one passes away, that's hard. You're trying to grieve, but then you're also trying to take care of business. So how do we make that process easy to handle during that type of grieving and planning the homegoing service for a life one? And so I was like, let me see how people feel about this love letter to yourself and writing your own obituary. Because you and I both have been to funerals, and we sitting there reading that obituary and we're like, now who wrote this? Because either they don't know that person, or they lying, or why is this person in this obituary? And we all have done it. We've all sitting there like, oh, I know they turned into their grave. I know they mad about whoever wrote this obituary.
Mm-hmm.
Or people mad about their picture not in there, or why that person picture up there. All the things that we really should not be worried about during that time. And so I kind of did a test run of it in March. I invited entrepreneurs, key people that I wanted to really get some meaningful and valuable feedback. Is this a workshop that is needed? Would people attend? Would people pay to attend? I gave out some key documents during the workshop that I emailed to you guys, like, take these documents and start filling them out. Who are going to be those three trusted people? And they don't even got to be family members. And if they're family members, that's fine. But who are those three trusted people that you can count on, that when that time comes and you're transitioning to the other side, that they can take care of all of your fears, your wishes, and take care of all the business that needs to be had without all that bickering and arguing. And you have it set up that somebody
Mm-hmm.
can carry you the way that you want, have the service or the memorial the way that you want. I truly believe that we're not prepared. I think these are conversations that we don't want to have. We just want to let people deal with it. Okay, I'll pass away. I'll just let them deal with it. Why? Why do that? Why not just have your affairs in order? So that was the basis of the love letter to yourself, and telling your own story, leaving your own legacy, writing your own obituary. And making sure that you're updating it, every 6 months. I just had my second love letter to myself workshop in November. great turnout, same feedback, half of the room, like we seen in March, Tamekia, did not have their affairs in order. And these are professional people, retired individuals. We had anywhere from young professionals, people in their 20s, all the way to retired people in their 70s at this last workshop. And half of the room did not have their affairs in order. There was not one single person in that room that had all the things in order. And I was just like, wow. Wow. So that's my little baby, a love letter to yourself workshop that I did in March that you attended. I did it again in November, and I'm planning to do another one in 2026. Actually, three more in 2026. So hopefully, people see the value of it and want to attend and get the knowledge and the resources that they need to ensure that their affairs are in order.
So I love the idea. You already know this, right? But there's another piece, that the obituary piece that we are going to talk about. But can I tell you, that's actually, I understand bringing the experts to the table, right?
Yeah.
It's all beautiful. It's all just really dope.
Yeah.
But can I tell you that obituary piece is probably my favorite?
Yeah.
Writing your own obituary is probably my favorite. And if you have never had to write, to your point about when people write somebody's obituary, right?
Yeah.
If you've never had to write it or write one on behalf of somebody, understand, like, there is work that goes behind it. And I'm speaking this from experience, right? There's work when you are trying to speak in the spirit of that person, that individual. Okay. Like, you really have to dig deep. You really have to dot your I's, cross your T's, pull stories, tap into other people. What do you remember? Can you share something? Like, you really have to work when you are trying to speak in the spirit of that person and move out the noise. So and I guess it's probably my favorite because of experience, right? Like, I know what it takes to write somebody else's obituary. Mm-hmm. So that really is my favorite piece. Oh. Then you answered the question, because I was going to say, Tracey, like, who is this workshop for, right? Because we think like, oh, okay, it's for the older people, and no, it is for everybody. It is literally for everybody. But I will tell you that I'm just gonna go on here and raise my hand and say I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Because I was probably one of the people, before experience taught me, that I need to have my stuff in order. Mm-hmm. Because it's so cliche to be like, oh, life is short. That's the cliche, but really it's like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And not that I'm speaking bad vibes out into the world. I am speaking in reality. Like, I am a realist. Like, this is what reality and experience has taught me, that you really don't know what's going to happen. And my grandmother, my granny used to say, we not promised nothing in this world but an expiration date. Yeah. Now, I was young when she used to say it, and I used to be like, this is old people talk. Like, what is this lady talking about? And it wasn't until I got older, and I was like, oh, this really is the only thing. I don't care what your ethnicity is, what your race is, what your gender is, what your pronouns is. I don't care what you are, what your social economic status is. One thing my grandmother was for sure about, that she used to always say, that we all got an expiration date. And if I don't understand that more than anything now, I'm like, oh, yeah, we sure do.
You definitely do.
We sure do. So I'm excited about the workshop that you are doing. And I know it's going to continue to grow. It is a lot of value in it. And I can understand the sticker shock when you see a lot of people are not prepared. And it's because we don't have the conversations, and we don't think it's going to happen to us. And because again, I'm guilty. We think we have time.
Yeah.
We think we have the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to sit down and really like focus I can only speak for myself, because my brain goes everywhere. And it's like, you want me to sit down and do what? Like, you want me to think about me? That's
Yeah.
not, it's not normal, right? It's not normal to really sit down and think about yourself. So it's going against what we are typically used to doing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're right. But we got to start, I think, in this day and age and before, of helping people, start pushing people to have these difficult conversations and shift the mindset to, it's not a sad and gloomy process. It can be really fun and enjoyable. And, I think the workshop is set up to be fun, lighthearted, and enjoyable, but have the real reflection and look in the mirror in the difficult conversation of, let me get my affairs in order. Let me start small with, let me write my obituary, let me start there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have some type of draft or a shell that you can share with those top three people that they don't even have to think about doing when that time comes. They have a blueprint that you left of your own story and legacy to be shared with everyone.
Let's jump into that. That's a good segue right into writing your obituary, writing your story, because you have done it. So let's jump into it because you are going to share a sample. Actually, not a sample. It's actually truly
It's
your
my
obituary. So
yes.
let's go ahead and switch over. All right. Okay. Let's jump into it. Tell us about writing the obituary, how you got started, the mind shift switch that you had to work toward. I love that picture. The mind shift that you had to do to actually to do this work.
You know, I was like, where I didn't even know where I wanted to begin to start and tell my story. Because I think sharing this, I knew I was going to share this during the workshop. So I said, how can I make something that is typically tough for people during that grieving process to make it lighthearted? So you see, I put this crazy picture on the front of my obituary um, after I took my braids out. But then I said, let me start with the order of service. Like, what do I want that day to look like? And I think most people like, here she go, micromanager, still micromanaging us, and she's not even here. But I'm like, what do I want it to be? And I think that was the easy part first before I even got to the writing. What do I want the order of service to be when that day comes? And
Mm.
I just wanted it to be simple. We all done been there, Tamekia. We at a funeral and it's like 4 hours and everybody's sitting there like, what just happened? Why are we here this long? I just want mine to be meaningful but simple. So I had just started with the order of service, and you can see it's so simple. And really, the things that I put in here are my own personal favorite scriptures, nobody else's favorite scriptures. These are my personal favorite scriptures, my favorite songs. Um, and I just started there, and then selected comments. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, Tamekia, but I do not like the portion of the funeral when they said, this is 2 minutes. Anyone has the opportunity to get up and speak. And it's just open. It's like a free for
Mm-hmm.
all. I said,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, they not doing that at my funeral. They not doing that. And so I've already selected, these are the individuals that I want to speak, you know, during my service. And then I did put like family choice. They started laughing when they seen that. I'll let y'all choose one song selection. And then I didn't put anybody down for the eulogy or benediction because I'm still thinking about that. Ultimately, I would put my pastor down. Um, but that's the piece that I'm still like, who would deliver this eulogy and benediction? Knowing that the age that I'm at, knowing the age that my pastor is, but then knowing I said I can still probably put his name down. But then also, hopefully, if he passes away, before then, who would that other person be? So just thinking about all those nuances, and then another song selection, and then I went into writing my obituary. And I just wanted to start it off. I wrote down some notes of what I wanted to say, who I was, who my personality, the work that I've done, the things that I love to do, something that clearly speaks and represents who I truly am. So I just started typing things out of what I wanted to say and include in my obituary. Then what I end up doing was, we're in this age of technology. We have different AI platforms. We have Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, all these different things. I took one of those platforms, and I think it was ChatGPT, because I use ChatGPT for some things. So they already know my voice. So if it's a platform that you're already using and they know your voice and they know your writing,
Mm.
makes it even easier. And so I used the platform that knew my voice already, and I dropped in there my draft of what I just started typing out. And then I read what they put, and I was like, that's not what I want. I want this. And then after doing that, probably 3 or 4 times is what we got right here. I'm not sure if you want me to read some of it or
Sure.
okay. So it just starts off. It is with a mix of laughter, love, and a touch of what the hell. Because I always say that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people are gonna be grieving, but I want people to still laugh and like, oh my God, we can hear her saying what the hell. That we announced the passing of, and I left, and I didn't put my name in there. I just left it blank because I'm still here. And so I didn't want to freak people out that much at the workshop. So I left that blank. Who left us? I left the date blank. Much earlier than anticipated, known for being the first to cuss you out with love, of course, saying what the hell when things don't make sense, or drop a classic, clearly you're out of order. Lived a life with unapologetic honesty, humor, and style. If you ever heard, and I left the name blank, but obviously it's my name, say, I'm confused, or who you talking to, you knew it was time to listen up because they didn't play around. And let's just say, when it came to their personality and vibe, there was no question of who they were. Blank always showed up exactly as themselves, no fake fronts, no pretending. What you saw was always the real deal. But above all, Blank will be remembered for their authenticity. No matter the setting, no matter who was around, Blank remained true to themselves. They lived with integrity, a heart of gold, and a genuine love for serving others, always ready to lend a hand, offer a word of wisdom, or simply share a laugh, made everyone feel seen, valued, and heard. And let's not forget that unforgettable laugh. No matter where Blake was, they were guaranteed to laugh out loud, and boy, was it contagious. And if people know I love to laugh all the time. I don't care where I'm at. I mean, I love to laugh, and I'm very loud when I laugh. It was pure joy, and it lit up every room she entered. Blake also knew how to have a good ass time. Now, see, it's funny because I say that all the time too.
All the time.
And so, I gotta probably put a disclaimer out there. I gotta like ask Dr. Wise or ask, like, is it okay that people read this out loud, even though I got a little cuss words in it? I don't know if they can like bleep it out, because obviously my service would be at a church, but but that's me. She always
Mm-hmm.
prays, have a good ass time, no matter where she went, whether it was a quiet night out or a wild adventure. Blank was always ready to turn any situation into a celebration. Life was too short not to enjoy every moment, and Blake made sure that everyone around them felt the same way. And this is just like the format of my obituary. Um, and then this is where I go into, I'm a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I love collecting elephants and, of course, shoes, because who doesn't need another pair, right? They had a passion for travel, particularly anywhere with sand and blue water, because life's better when you're living beachside for 26 plus years. And clearly, whoever gets a copy of this, those three people, they would change if it's 30 years, if it's 40 years
Mm.
dedicated to her life, to education and expiring. But at the time that I wrote it, I'm 26 years in to education. She poured her heart into her work, always ready. with a story, advice, or the occasional tough love. She'll be remembered for her wisdom, her honesty, and her incredible ability to make everyone laugh, even if it was just by saying what the hell at the right moment. Blank is survived by her loving family. And like for this piece, listen, I'm only putting the immediate family in there to me. I ain't putting a list of cousins, aunties, uncles, and then that's where people get offended, where
Mhm.
my name wasn't in the obituary. Why wasn't my name in the obituary? Why is this person's name in the obituary? No, ma'am. I just got my immediate family in here, the
Mhm.
people that I grew up in the household, my parents and my brothers. She survived by her loving family. I have my parents, my brothers' names in there, left a lasting mark on all her loved ones with a straightforward personality, wisdom, and a zest for life that could never be contained. Blank is also survived by her spoiled four-legged baby. And I don't know if y'all been hearing him whine on here, but he is at the bottom of my feet. Like he has been whining, which is so funny. Um, Ace will continue to live the good life with treats, belly rubs, and of course, endless love. She also survived by her nieces, nephews, great nephews, along with many friends who felt like family. And then I have in here in lieu of flowers, please send tequila shots, travel tips for beach destinations. And if you must, mean that will make, laugh beyond. Because for me, I'm like, and I know that probably I'm going to add in lieu of flowers because I really don't want a ton of flowers. And my
Mhm.
girl, I am going to leave in there the tequila shots, but I am going to ask for like books to be donated to a local school or to a local district because I'm an educator. And so,
Yes. Yes.
can
Yes. I
we,
love it.
how can I continue to leave that mark in lieu of, we know flowers, they're beautiful, but what happens to me? Because they die, right?
Mhm.
So I
Yep.
want something of value and impact, and that's still able to serve while I'm not here. And so I know I'm going to edit that piece and add in lieu of flowers, please send the tequila shots and books and all the things. A celebration of life will be held, the location with the open mic for anyone who has a funny story or memory to share. Dress code, dress to impress with ladies required to wear stockings, because you all know I like to wear stockings and tights. I love to y'all like wear your stockings and tights at depending on the season. But that's me,
Mhm.
rest easy, dear friend, and keep an eye on age. You'll forever be remembered for your authenticity, your heart of gold, and laugh that lit up every room, your ability to have a good ass time anywhere, and your undeniable style to good times, laughter, and always having a good ass time. Keep it going. And that's what I wrote. Like very simple. Because for me, I feel like people knew I grew up from Cleveland. People knew. I don't need to say she graduated from Warrensville High School.
Yeah.
She graduated from Capital University. For the most part, to me, because people that's coming to my funeral will know that I grew up from Cleveland, knew what high school I graduated from, knew what college I graduated from. I just wanted to have a different type of story to be told in my obituary and not that traditional.
But it captures you, and this is why this is absolutely like my favorite part, right? Because you typically don't hear anybody. I've never heard anybody actually say they've written their own obituary,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I just never have. And so not only did you write it, but you're sharing it and you're giving the sample of like, it's okay not to have this traditional type of obituary that people typically have. Like, speak to you, speak to who you are, capture yourself. And like, you know, we've been here on this earth. For me, it's been 47 years. So in 47 years, I should be able to capture Tamekia, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And normalize talking about myself, right? And like really speak to who I am, you know?
Yeah.
And this is what I love. Like most people probably wouldn't know I love to go through shopping.
Yeah.
I love it, right? Like it's a high for me. Don't ask me why. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I do.
Mhm.
You know, and so those are the things like you said, things that people typically wouldn't know. Capture that, and then also how do you continue to leave the legacy? Because it's my belief that once we do leave from here, your legacy continues. And so how do you continue the legacy? And I love the idea that you said you're going to put books,
Yeah.
donate books. I love that. I love it. But
So
this
this,
is why this is my favorite part.
yeah, yeah. That's, that's the basis of like that whole love letter to yourself. That's how that title came to be, because it is write your own love letter, leave your own legacy, tell your own story. um
And you even picked out your own pictures.
yes, it's you know how y'all were acting, Tamekia, at the first one. They did the same thing at the second one, like, where's my picture? And I tried to be intentional for the first one because I kind of knew who was coming. I like, okay, whose picture do I have in my phone that I can put? Because I know they gonna say, why my picture's not up there. But like, it takes the burden off of your family of calling and texting people like, send pictures. We need some
Mm-hmm.
pictures. Or some people, like my parents, like my mom, she don't want no pictures in her obituary. And so, okay, thank you. She don't want no pictures in her obituary. But some people want that. So leave some type of blueprint or draft for a loved one. And it might not be a family, it might be a really close friend that you have down as your power of attorney, or that's handling all of your affairs. Whoever those top three, I always say three, who are those top three loved ones that you want to be in charge of your affairs and have this information? Who are you going to share this obituary with? And
Can I add something to that? And that's only because I read it the other day and I was just like, oh, this is powerful. When people are choosing the three people, right? I read
mhm,
this the other day because we typically choose people based on our connection, right?
mhm, mhm,
And so what this individual was saying was, don't pick your three. Well, it just said person, but you're saying three.
mhm,
Don't pick the individuals that you want to be in charge based on your connection. Do not pick anybody that operates in their emotions. Pick
mhm.
someone who can remove their emotions and put their emotions aside and execute based on what you have actually planned out, and or if you don't have it in details, that you have actually shared with them. Now I was just like, wow. Because many of us do operate in emotions when, and we want to insert ourselves when it's like, it's not about you. This is not about you. This is about
Yeah,
your loved one. And so I love the individual who wrote that when they said, don't pick just whoever you pick. Do not pick anybody that solely operates off emotions.
yeah.
And I was like, that is key. I love that.
Hmm. Yes, I would agree. Who's going to be able to kind of set aside grieving to handle your affairs?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to carry out your wishes and not change it. And that's the thing.
Yep.
That's also the key to who is going to carry out your wishes and not change based off of, people are going to be in people's ears and saying, well,
Mm-hmm.
no, I want this. It's not about you.
Yep.
It's not your story to tell. It's not your love letter to yourself. It's not your legacy to live. Let people live their life and leave the legacy that they want and tell their story, when that time comes, when they transition to the other side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing your obituary. And if there's a template that you have that we can add to this so we can drop it to the podcast, please share it. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna go back to, let's see, where it's just as real quick so we can start wrapping up. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I had a question for you. What was my question? Because now my mind is just everywhere. We already talked about who this is for.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I feel like we are in this space of trying to help our, if your parents are still with us. For me, both of my parents have transitioned.
Mhm.
But if your parents are still with us, I feel like we are in this space of having a conversation with our parents. And I feel like it is the most difficult thing to do
Mhm.
with our parents.
Mhm.
What advice would you give someone that's trying to coordinate or help their parents put things in order? Just a couple nuggets that you would drop for us.
I'm gonna attend my next workshop. It's funny because my parents came to my workshop in November. Actually, my family from Cleveland drove down and came to the workshop because you kind of tell them what it is, but even when you look at the flyer, it had the different components of what was going to happen to Mika at the workshop. But I don't really think people knew what was really going to happen until they got there. And I think that will probably be the same thing for March. I don't, you probably like, what is Tracey really inviting me to? I'm going to come because we friends, but I don't really know what I'm walking myself into or what is expected. And so um I think a good time is to have it is really around this time. I have
Mm,
email that is scheduled to go out to all the participants that came in March and in November to say, hey, as we come to a close of 2025, I just want to bring it back around. This is a busy time of year, the holiday. While we're in and for some people, not for everyone, it's a joyous occasion because sometimes the holidays are tough for people because either they've lost a loved one or this would be their first time without a loved one. And so, how do you kind of either when you're in a lighthearted situation and you all are sitting around, whether it's watching TV or just talking, say, hey, how many of us have our affairs in order? And maybe just start it like that. How many of us have our affairs in order as it relates to, life insurance, retirement, obituaries? What legacy do you want to leave? Um, where's all your paperwork? And just start the conversation like that and see how many people answer, what they say. I think doing it in a lighthearted situation, not that you're scheduling a meeting and say, hey, I want to take you out to dinner or let's plan to meet on this day so we can talk about do you have your affairs in order, which I think would probably kind of turn some people away. I think doing it in a non-threatening manner. Obviously, I didn't invite any family members to my first one in March. Um, but I did invite them to this second one and they came. So them seeing the format, but also hearing from some experts, but then also I think seeing my obituary was like, I think a reality of we need to do a little bit more planning and getting our affairs in order. And so it was in a non-threatening way. Like for my parents, they already have their plots already picked out and paid for,
mm,
which is a blessing. But just knowing that, that was another thing that was recommended to me on one of the evaluations, potentially partnering with a local funeral home, having them have a table set up. Because I think a lot of times people, that's another overwhelming piece of the process of going to the going to the funeral home, and all the logistics. We don't even have time to get into that. You know what I'm talking about, Tamekia. All of the logistics of all of that, from a casket, the service, what day, what plot, all the headstones, all the different things that you could be at a funeral home literally 2 or 3 hours when you are planning someone's funeral. And I don't even think people kind of really understand all of the moving parts that come with um, putting together a homegoing service, whether you're cremating somebody, whether you're doing a memorial, um, whether you're having a all extravagant funeral, it all requires planning. And so how do we start having these difficult conversations? And maybe it's a gift during the holiday season. Maybe it's a gift uh, of just sitting down and having those transparent conversations. And I think a non-threatening way. And is it when everybody's just chilling, eating, laughing, relaxing, and somebody just raises the question, how many of us have all of our ducks in a row as retirement, obituary, life insurance? Who is that trusted person? Those are quick, easy questions to ask somebody. Who are you leaving in charge of your affairs? And a lot of people might think it's them, and it and it ain't them. You know what I'm saying? And then that starts the conversation with families. I think I'm in charge of everybody's affairs. To me, that's just me with my little bossy self, knowing that I'm not. But that would be the laughter. Like I'm in charge of your affairs, your affairs, your affairs. And my brothers will probably look at me like, you're not in charge of mine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously my brother that's married, his wife is in charge of his affairs, but I mean, he's the only one that's married out of our group. But that's the thing. Like, I'm single. I don't have a husband. I don't have any kids. So, we're laughing, we're joking, having a good time. But it was important for me to start putting stuff in order because I'm not married at this time and I don't have any kids. And so, who is going to be in charge of my affairs when that transition happens? Currently right now, I have my parents down, but obviously they're getting older. And so, is it I need to add a brother on there? Is it that I add a niece and nephew on there? Because we know as things change, you got to update your information and just being mindful of that. As things change, you got to update your information. So I think I sent your group a 6-month follow-up email about, hey, it's been 6 months. Have you done that one thing yet? And a lot of people either text or call me like, I haven't even done it yet, Colson. Thanks for the reminder. And so when we start making these things a priority, like we do scheduling vacation, how we schedule our hair done, how we schedule to get our nail, when we start making these life-changing things a priority, how we make everything else a priority, then we'll start seeing a change in that aging, getting older and aging. But right now, we don't make it a priority.
Well, I think and I agree, but I also don't think we talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think the conversation, like what we're having now, right? Yeah. Excuse me. The conversation and continuously having conversations will normalize it. And then people will, and as people, watch other people are watching you, right?
Yeah.
People watching me. I have, because of my experience, I am trying to normalize, not trying, I am normalizing certain things, right? And so I know people are watching me, having conversations. And I just think as we continue to talk about it, normalize it, I do think we could, I think it will turn into what you're talking about, start prioritizing.
Yeah.
But you can't prioritize anything that isn't right in front of you or that your people are not talking about.
Yeah.
So I think as we continue to do this work, if you continue to do the work, I do think the change will come. Now it takes time, like it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week, but it takes time. And so what I also loved about what you said is having a conversation in a non-threatening way. Most of us, we get defensive and we shut down when we feel threatened. Like we don't want to be challenged, and nor do I want you telling me what to do. Right? Like I don't want you telling me how to set my life up and what I need to be doing. But when you have the conversation or just pose the question in just a casual way, while I'm getting these greens out the pot, right? While I'm cutting this cornbread, while I'm about to eat this banana pudding, it's different. It's soft. It's approachable, and it's inclusive to everybody. I'm just not targeting Tracey. I'm just not targeting Tamekia. I'm talking to everybody that's in this room.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we have those conversations. We know the holidays. We all laughing, having a good time, having all type of conversations. Try to make this one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Try to infuse it, make it one of the topics of conversation, and just kind of hear where your family members are and do they have their ducks in a row.
I totally agree. Well, you don't know this, but we're going to continue to have conversations in 2026 so we can continue to normalize this thing. Because again, as I told you, as much as I think I have stuff in order, I really don't. Like there's still more work Tamekia need to do,
Yeah.
But I know that too, and it's like, oh, okay. I think I had shared with you some time ago that I, at the time, like both of my mom was my main person on everything. But at the time I was like, I don't even know. And my mom has been gone, transitioned in 2019. At that time, I'm like, I don't even know if I've revisited everything and have removed her from everything, because it's such a, I can't explain the feeling other than saying that it's heavy. It's like traumatic, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, and it's a trigger.
Yeah.
But it's also like, it needs to be done,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to your point, I'm in the same category. I'm not married. I don't have any children. And so, yeah, it was normal for me to list my parents as my beneficiaries, right? My everything.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, like, really, they're older. So now, I mean, well, they're not here, but it's just like, oh, okay, well, I really need to update. Now who do I list?
Yeah.
Because now I need to list people. Like, I know for sure my mama was gonna carry anything out that I wanted her to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But now I need to really figure out, like, okay, who can really execute? Now I really think people will execute and operate in the way I want them to operate, because they're gonna be like, she ain't come back for me. This is what she want. But I really have to think about who is emotional, who's not, who can do this, you know? And this is like, you really have to sit down and think about those things. And so I just want to say thank you for coming on and having this conversation. As I said before, writing the obituary was, I mean, I love all of it, but writing the obituary piece really is my favorite part. And then I was just like, okay, like, I really need to think about Tamekia. And it's hard to really think and talk about yourself, Tracey.
It is.
Like, oh my gosh. Well, we're gonna wrap up here. Is there anything that that we did not want to talk about that you want to share before we wrap up?
I just want to thank you for coming to me and asking me to be on your platform. Being an entrepreneur, starting to do some things. I really love this love letter to yourself workshop. There'll be another one happening in February on President's Day, that Monday. And so I look forward to continue to grow in this space with you and your listeners. And if anyone that's in that education space that need any coaching or mentoring, feel free to reach out to me via Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm here for any services.
What's your handles? We'll drop it in the description, but can you share your handles?
For it's EdTC on Instagram, and it's the same TC Education Consultant on LinkedIn.
Okay, so we'll make sure they are both of your handles are in the description. Do you go? So you know what? But this is a question that somebody may have for you as it relates to the education consultant part. Do you travel outside? Right now, we are located in Columbus, Ohio. Do you travel outside of Columbus, Ohio, and helping? Just in case anybody is interested. Okay.
Yes. I will travel. Yes.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you for coming on. We getting ready to wrap up. So remember to follow Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia on Facebook and Instagram at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. Remember to move in love, peace, and purpose. I am your girl, Tamekia R. Moon. Tracey, thank you so much. Mwah. We'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.